And now, it's time for The Dating Doctor.
Prescribed by Dr. Carlos
And Physicians Assistant Steve Estrada.
All right, we're back for another session of The Dating Doctor.
That's right.
Welcome. This has been a long week.
It has.
We have waited every day, almost holding our breath to get to this moment where we can deliver you another terrific episode of The Dating Doctor. So welcome. Once again, I have to announce and share that our illustrious,
once again,
Dr. Carlos is traveling.
I'm beginning to wonder if he's real.
He is real.
Like Santa Claus.
I've met him actually, and he's very real, very real.
Very real doctor.
So he is not here today. The show is being hosted today by me, your Physician's Assistant Steve Estrada. Hello. And we have our team back with the lovely, talented, and very highly educated Miss Della Lisi Kerr.
That's right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, everybody.
And we have back with us once again the voice, Austin Chamberlain.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, so we're going to give you guys a show that hopefully will knock your socks off or something exciting. I want to remind you, I have good news and bad news to report. We have almost sold out of our mythological and very popular and mysteriously missing T-shirts.
Oh, no.
Ever so
I
popular.
think they were sold out. I don't know what happened, but I went to the storage room where we keep these T-shirts.
The T-shirts.
The real T-shirts.
Along with the pencils and pens and papers and staplers, and they're gone.
Oh,
So,
like the fax machine.
so we have to put in a new order. So you guys who are in line for your T-shirt, hang on, because they are going to be coming. I promise. Now, I want to remind you guys that you're listening to The Dating Doctor on KCAA 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM in the Inland Empire. And today the show is brought to you by Elevate Health Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy. This is the latest innovation in the pursuit of optimal health. And you can check us out at elevatehealth.com. That's ELEVE health.com. 3 E's.
More E's.
Optimal.
What do we say here? We're big on E's. All right. So, what we're doing today is we are going to once again delve into the world of relationship experts.
That's
the
right.
folks who advise others besides us on dating, meeting people, developing great relationships, hopefully turning into great marriages, etc., right? So today we're going to review 2 different articles. Della is going to manage one of the articles, and the one she is managing is called The 12 Biggest Dating Profile Blunders Men Make.
This should be good.
Or How to Put Your Best Virtual Foot Forward. This is by Grant Stoddard. Sounds like a very, very knowledgeable guy. Grant Stoddard. What a great name. Sounds like a senator or something.
It should be.
So Della's going to hold that part of the program down with that delicious article.
Alrighty.
I am going to share something from one of my favorite relationship experts, Deanna Bruck. And her article is titled, I Hired an Online Dating Coach, and This is What I Learned. Spoiler alert, she says, it's a lot.
Wow.
Who knew?
Okay, Diana.
So this is very exciting. What I will do is share with you that the matchmaker that she is referencing is a lovely lady by the name of Samira Sullivan. And she is considered New York City's top matchmaker. So hey, if you're in New York City,
Easy for you to say.
yeah, I've had to speak English. If you're in New York City and you're looking for a match made in heaven, or somewhere that you like,
Match made in New
Samira
York.
Sullivan is your lady.
Sounds
Okay,
like it.
so we're going to start off with the first thing that Samira has shared with Ms. Deanna Bruck. And what she says is, men and women, you must choose natural-looking photos.
Ah, that's interesting.
Natural-looking photos. Now, I find this very appropriate because, as those of you know, I'm a single guy. I've done a little online dating in my day.
No, really?
I have.
Wow.
And what I want to share with you is you see a lot of different types of pictures. Some of the pictures you see look like they came out of someone's magazine. They are professionally done, hired. It looks like they hired a lighting person, a makeup person,
You're
a hair
referring
person.
to women, is that correct?
I'm sorry. I am for
Okay.
yes, because I am looking for female
Okay.
online dating opportunities.
Because I'd like to make a comment when you finish. regarding
That's
women.
how we do this show. We
Yes.
say something and then we make comments. Welcome to the Dating Doctor.
Hello, it's my pleasure.
Hi there. So I just want you guys to know, if you haven't looked at the dating world on the online sites, you see pictures that look like professional photographs out of a magazine, literally. You see photos that are touched up by these different online apps that we have on our phones.
Oh, wow.
They look weird. They don't. I know they're not normal. I know they're not natural. And I always wonder, well, doesn't the woman know that I kind of know that's not how you really look?
That's interesting. You should ask that question because I
Interesting?
didn't even think that other women would be. It's called cream, to cream your photo. Cream your photo.
Interesting.
And I've never. My photos are. What you see is what you get. So I think that's interesting that they have high tech, really super refined photos of themselves because you're going to go on that date sooner or later, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. And the other is you find pictures where it's a group of a bunch of people. And you can't even tell who the person is.
Now, Grant Stoddard mentions the exact same thing for men.
Grant Stoddard.
Grant Stoddard.
The senator.
Senator Stoddard is giving
He's-
dating advice?
That's right. For the 12 biggest dating blunders that men can make, he comments that A, you should never use an old photo, and that you should never group photo. Because she's not going to know who you are.
Well,
And-
you would be mixed in with a bunch of other people, so you couldn't really see much, is the first observation. And the second observation is, hey, her friends are attractive. Maybe I should try and meet them.
That's, yeah.
The other thing is
Seen that.
blurry pictures. Blurry pictures. It's like, that's a blurry picture.
Oh, that's
And
all
people,
my photos.
and people, and people do that on purpose too, because they don't want people to see what they look like. I don't believe in this day and age you can't take a decent picture. All of our phones are pretty good cameras. Miss Della Lisi Kerr,
I didn't
are
say-
you having an experience over
I
there?
have horribly blurry photos. On
Why
my
is
profile.
that?
Because I usually haven't eaten, and so I'm shaky when I take them.
You should have a friend take a
But
picture
yeah,
for you.
I guess I should have other people or get a tripod, one of the two.
Tripod. There you go.
But Grant Stoddard mentions the same thing. Don't have group photos. Don't make your photos that much more superficial, because and this is what we discuss all the time here on the Dating Doctor is you're looking for a person of character, and if their photos are photoshopped, what's the point?
There's a little bit of a lack of transparency because it's not real. I find it to be a little bit dishonest. And the other thing that I want to mention too is they show pictures from years ago.
Their best selves.
And I'm like, I would love to show my picture when I was about 40. I had full head of hair. There was no gray in it. I was looking good.
Yeah, were you?
But what am I going to do with that picture?
Why not 25?
Yeah, I know. Why not 25, right? So I think that the advice here is you want to be honest, you want to be transparent, you want to project and promote the real you, and choosing natural pictures gives somebody a real impression of, who you are. Looks matter. We know that that's not the only thing that matters, but they do matter. So choosing natural photos, guys, is the right way to go if you're thinking about doing some online dating.
Grant Stoddard also mentions that, and this is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to looking at men's profiles. I am a single woman, and so I've seen a couple of men's profiles. Tell me if this isn't true, ladies. The ab photo in the bathroom with the toilet seat up.
That's hot.
Oh,
That's not good?
Nothing is more revolting. Nothing will get me to swipe left faster.
So put the toilet seat down then? Is that the problem?
Yeah, no, put some clothes on. And Grant Stoddard says, shirtless pictures, forget about them. The tactic for broadcasting your physical fitness may be to just post pictures of you wearing your clothes stylishly and well-fitting clothes. Perfect example would be the two of you.
We're stylishly
You're
and well-fitted?
stylishly appareled.
Oh,
Is that a
wow.
word?
We're stylishly appareled.
I like that word.
That's cool.
I like that.
that.
Yes.
All right, so choose real, natural photos, guys, that hopefully you can see someone. It's clear. It's not all doctored with who knows what it's called? Cream?
Cream.
Don't use any cream on your pictures. Put it in your coffee, but not on your pictures.
There you go.
I was gonna say, once you see someone who is kind of doctoring up the pictures, I think you start to question everything else, whether it's within their bio, whether it's messages that they might be sending to you. I think you start questioning the whole picture, not just the looks.
Yeah, I agree.
And at that point, what can you trust?
Well, now that's really interesting. So right from the very beginning, seeing a photo of a woman that's been photoshopped, excuse I don't know if that's a branded name, but when you see a photo like that, you don't think that maybe she is a professional model, or maybe, can you tell that it's...
that's not what I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I don't think that's what Austin thinks either.
No.
No, it's somebody being phony baloney.
Ah,
Phony
interesting.
baloney, that's not a principle.
No, I don't see it anywhere on
Not
our
on
board.
our list of foundational
Nope.
principles. Okay, so that's our first little subject. Now, Adela, you've got something that you want to share with us next for our next little topic. So what do you have?
Well, again, going back to Grant Stoddard and the 12 biggest dating blunders that men make, one of them that I think is really interesting, and I don't understand this when it comes to online dating. We're talking about online dating versus just talking with someone. But if you're looking to make that relationship, like another dating guru, Matthew Hussey, always suggests, one of two things. Either you're going to have to talk to every single person you meet, that person that's standing in line at Starbucks or the person in the grocery store, or use online dating. So one of the biggest blunders a man does is lie about his age.
Lying about the age?
And I see that going in both directions. I'm kind of at a point in my life where
You lie about your age?
No, I don't lie about my age.
Oh, you don't?
The men in my life lie about their age.
Really?
Some of them say that they're older, and then I find out that they're younger. And some of them that are older say they're younger. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
They don't want to be where they are in life. And I can't help but think that that has something to do with their personal evaluation. That they're
Absolutely.
spending too much time in their circle of influence and not in their circle of concern. Or other way around, circle of concern, not in their circle of influence.
They're operating in their circle of concern.
Correct. Thank you.
Well, that's, that ties in with the phony baloney pictures, because you are the age you are. And eventually somebody's going to meet you. And I don't know what your age is supposed to look like to you, but apparently if someone is saying they're younger than they actually are, they're trying to promote a false narrative.
Yeah.
And again, it's not being transparent, it's being dishonest. I think it's almost being disrespectful in a sense, because you're not giving someone a realistic view of you. So I don't know.
Well, let me throw
why
a
would somebody say
question
they're older than they are?
I was just going
Why
to
ever
ask
do
that. I was going to ask Austin, do you think that a guy your age would lie about his age and say that he was older because he was looking for an older woman who wasn't so focused on family and babies and marriage and that sort of thing? Or do you think it's because he's not feeling secure in where he is in his life?
I think it's the insecurity.
Yeah.
However, in my case, I'm proud that I'm 25. I know Steve is proud of the age that he is. I don't know a lot of people that
76?
something like that.
That's a good one. Miss Della Leesker.
I don't know a lot of people that would be afraid to tell their real age. It's but it sounds like they're trying to overcompensate for something that they themselves see they're lacking, and that's obviously a red flag if they can't tell the truth about their age. I mean, it's very, very general information.
Well, I think that is definitely in the same ballpark as the pictures. We gotta be honest, guys. And if you're out there in the dating world, whether you're online dating or you're meeting somebody, in person, out and about, honesty is the best policy. I mean, it sounds,
There's no reason to be insecure
Worn
about
out.
your age.
Well,
be who you are,
as Grant
and let people
Stoddard,
decide based on that.
what Grant Stoddard says here in terms of men lying about their age being younger than they really are, he says, if you like older women, for example, rest assured that there are plenty of older women who hanker for the energy of a younger man, or a younger woman who hankers for an older man. I mean, there are millions of us out there looking.
Hankers, huh?
Hankers.
I like that word. I like that a lot. So, be honest, guys. I think it's what we learned for the first two. I'm going to go to our next little topic, and this is going to be, again, in the world of online dating. And it says, keep the bio brief.
Oh, we had bios.
Now, this is a good one because we've done some shows already with reviewing bios, and we found some bios that literally say nothing, a couple of words to a short story.
Or a long story.
And so it's
Biography.
all over the place. And what the dating expert is advising here is keep your bio short. You want to give a few bits and pieces of who you are to give somebody an idea about you. You don't want to necessarily reinvent the wheel with something that you think sounds, terrific. I've made the comment before that I've read a lot of women's profiles over the years, and they paint a picture that is, it's like Disneyland. I mean, it's the happiest place on earth.
Fantasy.
They're happy, their job is great, everybody loves them, their kids are great, their dog is great.
People say they're the best.
They travel all the world, they drink the best wine, they say some stuff that I've never even heard of in terms of places they've been or want to go. And so I think getting to the point is helpful, and I know that I want to talk more about this on the other side of our first break, but I do want to encourage you guys to pick something up from what we're sharing with you here, because everybody wants a relationship, and their definition of a relationship is going to vary from one person to the next. But everybody wants that, and this show is dedicated to helping people get closer to that goal and accomplish that goal. So we're going to talk more about the shorter bio, keeping that bio short, on the other side of the break. We'll see you in a minute.
So,
Alrighty, we are back. You're listening to The Dating Doctor on KCAA 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM in the Inland Empire. And today the show is also brought to you by meetingsinglesnow.com, where we bring you the best events to meet quality singles.
walrus wings, walrus.
My mouth is not working today. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us on our second segment here. So we were talking about the advice for some of the dating professionals that we look up to and appreciate and admire, because we're part of that world too, right?
They're our colleagues.
We are relationship advisors. So we were talking about the piece here that says, keep the bio brief. Now, obviously, we're talking about online dating, right? But I want to take this and just take it into a little bit of a different direction. And that different direction is, we essentially are promoting ourselves. We are trying to persuade someone, if we fancy them and we want to maybe win them over, to see the value that we possess in a potential mate, right? So we are going to be maybe considering stretching the truth a little bit, maybe painting a very rosy picture. But here on the Dating Doctor Show, we teach principles, right?
We do indeed.
We teach principle-centered life, right? And so honesty we've talked about, transparency we've talked about, kindness. So these are the kind of things that we talk about. So a lot of these profiles don't possess any of these things. They really don't. I described it as reading a Disneyland type of bio where everything sounds perfect, everything sounds wonderful, and I think it sounds great in like a fairy tale or the ideal circumstance, but the reality is, you know, I don't know much about this person other than, you know, they're painting this rosy picture. So when we talk about an online bio, you know, what are you putting in that bio? Are you talking about the things that someone could focus on and understand, gee, I could consider this person as a great mate because maybe they're somebody that is very committed to causes that they care about, or maybe they're very industrious because they work hard, they're building a company or they're building a career, or maybe something that just says they're compassionate because they take on a lot of great causes, right? Those are the things that we're looking for. Those are the qualities or the principles that we want in a partner. I don't think anybody could say, I'm looking for somebody who's unethical.
Right, exactly.
No.
Well,
No way.
and when you've got those Disneyland bios, where's the sincerity in that? There's nothing that gives me any indication that the person has a sincere desire to meet me above and beyond anyone else, and that they would like a collaborative relationship. I think there's a lot to be said for human engineers who recognize ideas like the dirty dozen questions that we had. Now, frankly, some of the dirty dozen questions are pretty tough on a first date, but those are the kinds of things. Those are the kind of things, though, that you could put in a bio. Keep it brief and use the dirty dozen questions in a bio and turn it around to explain who you are.
Absolutely. So in terms of the advice here that our author is giving us, keeping things brief, I would say keeping things accurate, keeping things impactful in terms of communicating who we are. I want somebody to know that I work hard. I want somebody to know that I am committed to being healthy. You know, talk about fitness and talk about maybe, you know, my activities like going to the gym or hiking or things like that. I want somebody to know that I am collaborative. You mentioned the word collaboration. I don't know of what a better quality would be for two people who are trying to get together in a relationship than being a fan of collaboration. Because what is a relationship if it's, you know, not a collaboration?
Right, and as our illustrious dating doctor Carlos Mendez had said many, many times, collaborative doesn't just mean making something work, but making it work from both directions. You know,
it takes two.
It does.
It takes two. I mean, if I could, again, a quality that I would want in a partner, it would be hard to find a better quality than a person who was collaborative, that wanted to take two people, bring them together in one, you know, awesome package, which is that relationship, that collaboration. So, you know, these advices that these folks are giving here, I think they're more of what you call surface stuff. I don't see them getting into necessarily what we're doing in terms of the principles that we want people to understand are important and follow. But this is certainly inspiring us. That's why I did this, to have these conversations, because this, what we're reading here, this is the norm. You know, somebody's saying keep the bio brief so that you don't lose someone's attention, so that you do focus on some things that somebody can pay attention to. That's all important, and that certainly helps someone understand how to focus on what they're writing. But you have got to communicate what you are. And if you communicate some real grandiose ideas and concepts, like I call the Disneyland profile, I can't do much with that. But if somebody says to me, you know, I am really a compassionate person. I volunteer every Thursday night at Children's Hospital Orange County. And what I do is I play music for the kids. I bring my guitar and I sing songs. And the kids gather around and the parents and the nurses love it. And if somebody said that to me, I would be like, wow. I would be like, wow. Right?
You know, there's another dating coach out there that gives superficial, admittedly, advice. His name is Matthew Hussey, and he calls that, what you're referring to, as micro attraction. And micro attraction. And he calls it that because that would be something that sparks you. It's so tiny that the person writing their bio might not even think that it would that anyone would pay any attention to the fact that on Thursday nights I play guitar at Chalk Hospital, and yet that's what would hit you if you were reading that, because it indicates to you that person has some depth and some character and principles, correct?
Well, they're compassionate. They care about people. They're probably very kind.
They're probably lovers.
And loving. Yep.
They are loving. They are certainly affectionate, I would say. So, you know, one little story about, hey, I volunteer, I do this at the Children's Hospital 1 day a week and sing songs and play my guitar. I wouldn't need much more than that to go, wow. And if I like their pictures,
Exactly.
I'm thinking, I need to call this person. And I wouldn't need much more.
I have to tell you, there was one incident when I was dating my late husband. I was attracted to him because he was very handsome and he was very charming and witty. But we were walking and there was a woman in front of us with a baby carriage, and the blanket on the baby carriage flew off, and Rob ran and picked it up and made sure she got it back. And instantly, that was it. Right then and there, I knew that was a man of principles.
I can see that.
Because he was concerned, he was walking with me, he was conversing with me, but he was concerned about the rest of the world, this woman's blanket flying off the baby. And instantly, that was attracting.
Tell that story.
I did.
Put that in a profile.
Exactly,
If a guy did something like that and a lady read that, I think that would make an impression.
It would. It would
Just
show
tell a little story like that.
It would show a person of character and principle, and that's what we're looking for here.
Yeah.
We're not looking for anything superficial, right?
Absolutely.
What do you think about this, Austin?
I think you guys are on the right track here. I mean, you know, the principles that we're looking for, they're on the board right here, but these are things, you know, like your late husband, clearly he's showing principles there. Clearly you were in a conversation, but at the same time, he's caring for the rest of the world. And he's got love for other people, and he's being considerate of them. And those are the things that are most important, because those things last.
Yep.
It's not going to be the superficial things.
Yeah.
So you're falling in love with the people, and you're finding these little moments of sparks that are authentic and genuine. And I think we can see that vibe. I think it kind of radiates off of us. So I think those are the things that we can actually believe in.
Yeah, and I think, guys, that we're taking the reason that I like doing this, looking at the other folks that advise on dating and relationships, is because this is considered the conventional or the norm.
That's right.
We on the Dating Doctor, we're not conventional. We're not the norm. We're trying to say, hey guys, there's a better way. There is a better way, and this is really good. I like the way this is going here. I think we're on to something.
I think that we spend a lot of time in the superficial because our lives are speedy and fast and superficial.
Yeah.
And yet, when we're talking about a relationship, we can't go down those roads. We need to actually listen to what the person is saying by what they're doing. A dear friend of mine is always saying, it doesn't matter what a person says, it matters what they do. So you have to listen to that sort of thing.
There you go.
And these are the things that will tip us off to either a person for whom we need to call it a day, because one of the key components that I've been reading is the fact that a lot of these relationships that end after about 2 years, you could have seen those situations that caused that breakup after 2 years on the second date.
Absolutely.
And so that's why we're talking about digging deeper.
That's right. And what you said there is that is the norm. Relationships, Dr. Carlos says it all the time. 2-3 years and on to the next.
But we would have.
And it happens over and over and over. Go ahead.
But I think that a person, if they're paying attention to the principles, they would have seen that
Yeah.
Yes.
on date 2,
Yeah.
date
Yep.
4.
You might
Yeah.
see it on the first date. You're going to be
Possibly.
weeding
You
these
might
people
see
out.
it on the first date, and that's the point. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? And this is a map. This is a roadmap. What we're teaching here. This is a roadmap. So let's move on to the next point. Della, you have something you want to share with us, and we'll work the same magic on whatever's coming up next.
Well, I think this concept comes with being in and out of relationships all the time, multiple marriages, multiple dating situations. So this one relates to once you've started being involved, and our author mentions being overly negative on the first or second date.
Oh, yeah.
Overly negative?
Overly negative. A person is trying to be authentic, trying to explain why they've had a couple of marriages, why they've had some relationships that have fallen apart. And instead of looking inside at themselves, it comes off as negative. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Being overly negative. I do a daily mantra, and the first thing on my mantra is I am happy. The second is I am positive. And that's because I know the value of being positive. I want to look for the things in life that are good, that are forward moving, that are helping people I care about, helping myself grow and get better. So overly negative, I think we've all run into people who are overly negative. They focus on what's wrong.
Right.
They focus
Exactly.
on what has keeping them from getting to where they have to get. And you mentioned it earlier, Della, but the circle of influence versus the circle of concern. The circle of concern, just to review, guys, is a big circle, and it's all the things that comprise our world, our environment, from our job situation, our family situation, our relationships. And all those things are involved with a lot of things we can't control. We cannot control most of those things in that circle. It's a very big circle. But what we can control is the things that we are directly connected to, the things we can influence. And when somebody is being overly negative, they are operating, in my opinion, in the circle of concern.
I would agree entirely.
You see how that works?
Right.
And that circle of concern versus circle of influence, for me, if I was teaching anything about any of this that we talk about in relationships, I would say that one example, and I draw it on the whiteboard all the time. I show the big circle of concern, I show the small circle of influence. And I say, you've got to take that small circle of influence and blow it up and make it take over the circle of concern, literally. And once you've achieved that, you now have control of your life. You now have control of the things that are important to you and to the people that you interact with.
Yeah.
So
And then the negativity will fall by the wayside, because you'll understand that what you're relating when it's negative all the time are things that are outside of your influence, and you shouldn't be working in that circle anyway.
nope.
I was going to say, I think, if you're dating someone that's overly negative, I think it can be infectious. And I think it's incredibly unhealthy. And that can, spew into other areas of your life. And I think that's, being so negative, it's going to negatively impact things. And it can warp your way of thinking. You can start, blaming others for other things or playing the victim. And that's just that's a recipe for disaster. So that negativity can really put a cloud over, yourself if it is that other person. And I think it's just very draining. I think it's very taxing, and I think it can be very exhausting for someone. to be around like that all the time.
Absolutely. I had a recent experience. I think I shared it on the show. I got a phone call from someone that I hadn't talked to in years. And I remembered what it was about her that I didn't like. And it was so funny. It was years later, hadn't talked to her in years, probably 4 or 5 years. And she literally was exactly the same.
Oh, wow.
Exactly the same with her job, her kids, people, the ex, the neighbors, the real estate deal, the job, again. I mean, it was the same stuff. And the other thing that was funny is that all of it was negative. There was nothing positive, and I thought to myself, does she ever listen to herself?
Ah.
Does she ever listen to herself and get that no one wants to listen to this? I mean, you could tell somebody of something tough that you're going through. You can share that. But if your whole message is that negative, how do you... I don't think she has any awareness. I think she lacks self-awareness. And I literally hung up the phone and I thought, why am I even talking to her? Because she is the exact same person as she was. And I almost would want to help her, but I know, oh my goodness, she's so far.
It's only going to bring you down.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't really bring me down, only in the sense that I couldn't be available to it.
Yeah.
I already knew too much. And 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't know Carlos. I wasn't working on personal development like I am today. I'm not on the Dating Doctor show, having this radio show that we do. Today I couldn't be available to it. I know in that first phone call there would not be a second phone call. It wasn't even tricky. So guys, we are at the end of our second segment here. So we're going to catch you on the other side, and we'll see you in a minute. All right, guys, we are back for our final segment of the Dating Doctor. Let me remind you out there in Bingers land, you are listening to the Dating Doctor on KCAA 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM in the Inland Empire. And today the show, if I haven't mentioned it once, I'm mentioning it twice. The Dating Doctor is brought to you by Elevate Health Hyperbaric Oxygen Therapy. This is the latest innovation in the pursuit of optimal health. And you can check us out at our website. And we've been working on it. It's very, very awesome. You should come see it. ElevateHealth.com. That's ELEVE health.com. How many E's is that? 3. 1, 2, 3.
EQ.
You know, it's actually 4 E's because health has an E.
Exactly.
We love E's here. Okay,
E
so
to the 4th power.
we're very easy on this show. Huh? See how I did that? Okay. Anyway, guys, so we are moving on. We're having a fabulous discussion.
We are.
On some of the experts out there in the relationship and dating world, advice professional. We are advice professionals in the dating and relationship world. Do you guys feel like professionals? I know I do.
I absolutely do.
You do? Austin, what do you feel like? You feel like one of these?
I feel like a professional. I feel like I have some good experience.
All
even
right.
with my age.
That's
which is
right.
25.
25.
To be transparent for the bingers, as we call them.
Well, thank you.
For
All
of
right,
us
so
out here
our
who
next
we're 35.
our next great bit of advice is go on several dates. Go on several dates. Now, there's 2 parts to this. The first part is date several people. Go out and meet different people. So don't just go on one person and hyper-focus. Now, I have a challenge to that. But the second part of this, which I kind of do like, and I know our dating doctor, Dr. Carlos, he is a fan of the group date, where you go out in a group and you bring your date to a group. It could be a group of her friends. It could be a group of your friends. It could be a group of both of your friends. And the reasoning behind that, and we'll talk about that, is that when you're in your group of peers, the real you is going to have an opportunity to show up. And that's great for somebody who's considering you in a possible relationship, right? So let's talk about the first part of that. And the first part of that is our author is advising to go on multiple dates. Now, my thinking on that is I don't have a general problem with that because you might want to talk to a few people. But what I think would be more important as advice is instead of just going out on multiple dates, it's what's your plan?
Exactly.
Because if you have a plan, you've already done some good screening. You've already considered the information that someone has communicated in those initial encounters, whether it's a profile online or whether it's meeting somebody by chance in the initial beginning of the relationship or talking to somebody on the telephone. You have an idea about that person if you have a plan, and your goal is to discover how they match with that plan, how they fit with that plan. So that's my take on that part of it, guys. Let's go with Austin first. You get what I'm saying here?
Absolutely. I think it just goes back to quality over quantity. And I think doing the screening process, I mean, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. Could be money.
That's right.
Money is a
Manicures.
thing. Manicures. I think you could be saving yourself just a lot in general. Maybe your sanity. I think
sanity.
You're saving yourself from the unnecessary things, and I think time is of the essence. And really, you want to be giving good people a shot. I don't think you want to just give yourself to everyone. Leave yourself open to everyone. So I think being a little bit more selective, being a little bit more due diligence, doesn't hurt. I don't think it hurts at all. I think it only helps.
No, it does not. What do you think, Ms. Della Lisi Kerr over there?
Well, I'm looking at the author's suggestions, and what she is suggesting is several dates, just endless first dates. And I don't see the value in that, as the two of you have mentioned, because if you have a plan, if you know what you're going for right from the beginning, and as we're assuming anybody who's listening to this show wants a principle-centered relationship, then going through a cookie cutter amount of dates, like you so eloquently put it, might cause stress and financial distress and everything else. It's simply not worth it. Not to mention the other person's feelings. We're not robots. Even going on a date that doesn't line up is can be a little bit disheartening. You walk out of there thinking, oh, what a waste of time, and it kind of hurts my feelings. So we have to be cognizant of that sort of thing. And I think that endless dating, cookie cutter amounts of people coming in and out of our lives isn't fair to them either. So I don't follow that.
There's another piece to this, guys, and we're going to talk about it next before we get into the group dating idea, which we like that. I think that's an option. I mean, it's not for everybody, but I think it's a good option, and we'll talk about it. But here's the other thing. The word is going to come up, and it's chemistry. And the word chemistry keeps coming up, and it's in most of the profiles out there that I've read that the ladies have authored. And what is being suggested here is you want to meet a lot of people, and the reason you want to meet a lot of people is you want to measure that elusive chemistry. And what I've said before, and I'm going to keep saying it, is guys view chemistry differently than women view chemistry. And
correct.
Ladies, you've got to understand that what a guy thinks in terms of chemistry is, would I like to get intimate with this lady or not? And I'm telling you, ladies, it doesn't take a whole lot for a guy to decide, I want to get intimate with you, so I have chemistry with her. That's what the guy is thinking.
Oh, interesting.
Now, ladies, on your end, it's a different process. It may include, I find this guy very physically attractive. I could maybe see myself being intimate with this guy. But that's a small piece of your chemistry profile.
Was this when you were a girl? This is where you came up with this?
Well, I know a little bit about the chemistry thing because I have fought this a lot. even before I started doing this show, because I don't believe chemistry is even a real thing.
So wait a minute.
Regardless of the energy that we can feel from each other and the chemicals and the pheromones and all of that, that's a real thing. But what people call chemistry, what I'm trying to, and I'm communicating it again, and Della, you might feel the challenge here, but that thing is not a good scale to measure things by.
Absolutely it isn't.
Because it's two different things. The man has one experience, the female has another experience.
Well,
and if you are looking at just trying to get with someone, physically looking at them and see what that feels like, of course you're going to want to meet a lot of people. And the one that physically feels right, the chemistry feels best, you think that that's going to be this thing that's going to tip the scale. And what we're trying to teach you on the Dating Doctor is that's not a good plan.
My comment was regarding your take on what a woman sees as chemistry. And you were alluding to it, and it's right on. When I refer to chemistry, if I were going to write chemistry in a profile, I'm looking for chemistry. To me, as a woman, and I would say that most of the women I am familiar with would say that that means a deep connection. That means soul-searching romance and all-engulfing, which comes right down to intimacy, because intimacy
Oh
for
my goodness, this is on the first or second date you're referring to, because this is the whole problem.
Yeah, that's the
that
whole
what
problem.
you're describing, that doesn't happen in the beginning, and if it does, that's the problem.
Exactly. And
That's
so
the problem.
while a man is hearing chemistry as when can I be intimate with her?
Yes.
And a woman is seeing chemistry as that encompassing hug, that flood of passion. That's what chemistry is to a woman. Unfortunately, when it comes down to physicality, it's the same thing. And that's not what we're looking for here.
Well, I think that the way you describe it, that's something that hopefully should come for people later on in the process. After
Absolutely.
you've vetted them.
Yep.
If you want to use a word, vetted them. Are they those things that you're looking for? Are they kind? Are they ethical? Are they disciplined? Are they industrious? Are they committed to something? On down the line of principles. It's not that tricky. Now, you know the principles that mean the most to you. And you're going to be looking for that. And you hopefully are promoting and projecting those principles as well. So that's the first part of this go on several dates. I don't even like this advice. I think it's baloney. Somebody should say you should have a plan. And if
Right.
you're focusing on something, come up with your plan before you start looking for people. Come up with your plan.
You just said it, Steve. You said put the principles that you want the most. And that's your plan.
That's right. The other part of this, of course, is she also suggests dating or going on dates with friends. Going on dates with friends. Going on dates with groups of people. Now, I like this concept to a degree. And the only reason that I am a fan of it is when we're with our friends, when we're with the people that we call our peers, that person that is trying to get to know you is going to get to know you quicker because we are more ourselves when we're amongst our friends. The ideal setting, if we're talking about group dating, is she brings her friends, you bring your friends, and you go on a group date. And you too, if you're looking for a relationship, a good relationship, and you're measuring this person, what better way to see you in your comfort zone amongst your friends? You will very quickly discover what that person is about versus the one-on-one, which is, let's face it, we're all trying to be at our best behavior.
We're putting on a facade.
We're putting on a facade. What does the real Austin look like? What does the real Steve look like? What does the real Della look like? Well, when we're alone with just one other person and we're not surrounded by all our crazy friends who know us like no other, I'm telling you, it's a whole different presentation. And I think, and Dr. Carlos is a big fan of this, the group date. It might be a little challenging if you've never done it before. I've done it a couple of times, and it's been interesting, and it's been good in one situation, a little challenging in another, based on how things turned out. But I would say that I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan of it. And if you haven't tried it out there, give it a shot, guys, because this is not necessarily a bad plan. So we're about done with the show, guys. I just want to encourage you that we're trying to give you good advice to help you find that person that you want to have that great relationship with and maybe someday even marry. So until next week, we'll see ya.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.